Welcome back. One of the most chilling parts of this weekend's attacks on Minnesota lawmakers was reports the suspect, Vance Belter, impersonated a police officer to gain access and trust. Now local police departments are responding. Here's Morgan Wolf.
Black SUV had red and blue flashlights.
For 48 hours, men and women in real law enforcement uniforms were searching for a man wearing a fake one.
Suspects posing as police officers.
He was dressed as a law enforcement officer, wearing a tactical vest and body armor, carrying a handgun and a flashlight, and wearing that same hyper-realistic silicone mask.
You know, we work so hard to build trust in the community, and to have somebody take that away, it really is, you take it personal. We work so hard to build that.
Burnsville Deputy Chief Matt Smith is one of the many officers disturbed by Belter's deception. It has prompted a number of departments to proactively send out messages to residents on how to properly identify their officers. In Minnesota, impersonating a police officer can lead to prison time. The first offense is a misdemeanor, and if certain conditions are met, it can be elevated to a felony.
Each police department has its own uniforms and patches.
The thing is, though, you can find the items that Belter used easily online. Badges on Amazon range from $4 to $50. You want a tactical vest? They have that too. And even police lights to attach to your car. New documents show that Belter bought some of the items that he used in that attack just last week on June 9th. And court documents say that he bought them at a Fleet Farm. We reached out to them and we were told in a written statement, we are aware of the tragic shootings that occurred over the weekend. We are cooperating fully with authorities. Specific details cannot be provided because that investigation is ongoing.
I can't speak to what somebody should be allowed to buy or not. What I can say is if you have a question about whether the officer you're talking to is real, call 911.
Brooklyn Park Police Chief echoing that message to call 911 to verify.
Obviously, there's a lot of different uniforms, and it's never wrong to do that.
Morgan Wolf, KARE 11 News.
We know Belter's run from authorities lasted 43 hours, and what we're just learning is what he was doing during the manhunt. Ian Russell reports on the anatomy of the search.
The so-called face of evil.
Belter stalked his victims like prey.
Started here, Champlin, and the home of John and Yvette Hoffman.
644, code 3 in Champlin. Stand by on a GSW AL-TAC 1, please.
Belter shot the Hoffman sometime around 2 a.m. Saturday. From there, Belter traveled to Maple Grove and New Hope. Around 3:30 a.m., Brooklyn Park Police went to conduct a welfare check on Melissa and Mark Hortman's home.
7044, code 3, Brooklyn Park, on a shooting to the area at Windsor Terrace North.
Belter fled, starting the search for the alleged killer.
Suspects posing as police officers shot 2 victims.
Nearby, police found the fake mask he was wearing, multiple guns, and a list with the names of other lawmakers. Police then located Belter's wife. Around 6:15 Saturday morning, he texted her saying, quote, "Dad went to war last night." Cell phone location data from multiple phones associated with Belter led them to this home in North Minneapolis, finding ammunition and a handwritten list of names with similar public officials. One of the people at that home said Belter texted them this.
I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
At 7 a.m. Saturday, Belter met a stranger at a bus stop, buying his e-bike and eventually his Buick. Belter then drove with the owner of the car to a bank in Robbinsdale, where these pictures were taken. Around 2:30 Sunday morning, someone said they may have seen someone riding an e-bike near the Belter home in Green Isle. Police were unable to find him. They found that Buick abandoned on Highway 25, roughly 5 miles from the Belter home. Police spent much of Sunday searching that Buick in the surrounding area, even going door to door to search nearby homes, using a helicopter and infrared technology. He was spotted on a trail cam, and then a neighbor saw Belter walking through the grass roughly a mile from his home and reported it to police.
And as I was coming down the driveway, I said, "Dad, there's somebody in the front yard."
Belter was arrested just after 9 p.m. Sunday, ending the largest manhunt the state of Minnesota has ever seen.
As Minnesotans prepare to pay their final respects to Representative Hortman and rally around Senator Hoffman's recovery, stories about their dedication to public service keep emerging. Jennifer Hoff has more from those they directly helped.
Tucked away in a tranquil setting, Crescent Cove isn't for everyone, and why Executive Director Mary Gaish says it's so special.
A unique space in Minnesota and a unique space even in our country.
The facility is one of 3 in the whole country that provides palliative care just for pediatric patients with complex medical conditions.
The support of our community has just been so phenomenal, and actually Senator Hoffman has been a critical piece of that support.
Senator John Hoffman, a longtime disability rights advocate, not only redefining hospice care for Minnesota children, but helping pass what was breakthrough legislation for such a sacred place to get state funding.
He made this refuge a possibility, and he made this a place of hope and joy for families. I mean, that's a pretty powerful thing to have done.
His recovery after being shot by a man pretending to be a cop, all the more important, while others remembering Representative Melissa Hortman killed by the same suspect.
Just couldn't believe it.
Jean Lasting is a longtime lawyer who used to lead a nonprofit providing free services to low-income families.
Best decision I made as a new executive director was to hire Melissa. She was hardworking, independent, knew when to ask for help.
That was 1996, and only a year later, Hortman would go on to win what's still the largest housing discrimination lawsuit.
This is an article from the Pioneer Press.
A jury awarding a tenant nearly $500,000 after they found her landlord guilty. A fight that started to fix a furnace, turning into Hortman taking a stand for public service then until her final days.
She stuck with it and saw the suffering. Melissa was an attorney who had the drive to obtain the knowledge to do good work right away.
So many incredible stories like that. Well, stick with us. We have more news and weather coming up after the break.